This is why I'm not a producer. Howdy, howdy. Welcome on into the pre-show before the free show.
Did you just forget to turn the mic on?
Of course I did. No, your mic's hot. You can hear yourself, right?
Okay, note to self. No more
Hold
cursing
on.
from
Erin
more
Hartigan.
cursing for like the next hour. Mic is hot.
See, I'm trying to
Thank
figure
you.
this
Coming
out.
from me
Hold
or
on.
from me?
Let's see if I can do this.
Ashley Pickle, we are
Welcome on
screwed.
into the pre-show before the free show. And this is going to be a particularly calamitous pre-show because I'm in the producer chair. And over there, filling in today, it's our good friend from Fox Sports Southwest. It's Erin Hartigan.
God help us.
I know.
How long is this show typically?
I mean, it's as long as we want. It's the internet. We can go as long as we want.
Ashley Pickle is like praying over us.
She's watching this. She's watching this like looking out. She's in
surely this
Lano
can't
like
go
enjoying her weekend, and she's like, I am glad I'm not there for
There is
that
no
train
way
wreck."
this train is coming off the tracks,
No,
right?
No. So Erin's here. Erin's going to be filling in today. We are, but, you know, it is also Mailbag Friday, so we will have that coming up for you.
Should I be nervous about that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You should 100% be nervous about this because these commenters, you know, they're going to bring the heat. But, you know, we will kind of tee this up there for the mailbag because we do want one thing from our audience, which is we want some marriage advice.
Wedding/marriage
advice for Erin. So if you've got that, go ahead and get in the comments and let us know. But we are going to make sure we...
I preface that with I'm like a month away from my wedding. And I have been the most chill bride. Believe it or not, Greg Tepper. And I know it's hard.
You?
For me to believe. I swear, I have been the most chill bride. Like, I'm like, I don't care. My bridesmaids are like, what shoes do we wear? I'm like, I don't know. Heels, kicks, slippers. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, I just want my people there. I just want to celebrate. I just want to party. Because that's something I've never said before. But now I'm like a month away. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, I've had like 20 years to plan this thing.
Okay.
And now I'm panicking.
Okay. We'll have some wedding talk here in a moment. But can I give you one small piece of advice?
Lean into the mic.
You said, well, that too.
Okay.
I mean, you're a professional broadcaster here. But you can also center yourself up in the frame if you want. You are kind of off kilter.
Where now? See again. This is me.
There we go. This is
me.
going great.
Okay, so technically, I'm not trying to fill the impossible shoes of Ashley Pickle.
Certainly
I'm trying to.
You're trying to fill my. I'm the one trying to fill Pickle's shoes.
Which makes me feel much better because I feel like that is much more attainable.
You can absolutely do my job. My job is just to run my mouth.
Where should I be? I'm serious. Like, where's my mark?
I don't know. Wherever you feel comfortable.
Like, lean in.
But this is the one bit of advice that I will give you from a wedding perspective, and this is coming from a dude who obviously doesn't know what he's talking about. But I will say this: you're a month away, right?
Yes.
There's nothing you can do.
Why am I kind of freaking about it? Do we have the hand sanitizer bottles that we're giving away as like little, you know, the keepsake or whatever? Jello shots. Do we have the syringe Jello shots with the sign that says "Cleared to Party"? Wedding vaccine shot. It's like, you know, those details.
Let me just tell you.
We're totally playing into the whole COVID thing, by the way. We're leaning into it.
Let me just tell you. One thing is like it's done and dusted. All the big things are taken care of. There's nothing you can do. You might as well just let go. Like there's nothing you can do. I'm just telling you.
Just show up and hope William does as well?
That's exactly it.
Okay.
Yeah, just like basically it's going to happen. There's nothing you can do at this point. So just have a good time. Let it rip. And just know that it's not going to go perfectly. It's not, but it's going to be great.
And I will tell you, I have had that mindset of whatever happens, whatever the weather is, whoever's there, whoever's not there, masks on, masks off. Like, it is going to be part of our story. Mm-hmm. And that's how I need to embrace the day.
That's exactly right. See? That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Erin, do you want to start? We can even start the show a little bit early. Do you want to start the show?
Let's do it.
Okay, we're going to start the show. Let's see if I can do it. Ready? And go. Oh, my gosh. Go.
Let's go!
Free money! Hey, how to sing the blues, babe.
Yes, y'all. Hard cut. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show on the internet by the grace of God. My name is Greg Tepper. I am the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, texasfootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live at texasfootball.com or on Facebook, or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. We're also on YouTube and Twitch. Are you making noise over there?
Breaking chairs.
My goodness.
We're off to a good start.
We're also on Twitch and YouTube. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today. That's not true. I'm sitting at the helm today. I'm so used to going through my paces.
How powerful do you think?
I'm sitting at the helm today, but sitting over there in the hot seat, here to bring the heat, our good friend from Fox Sports Southwest, it's Erin Hartigan.
I never know how to sit. Should I lean? Which angle's better? Do I sit up straight?
I don't know.
Like, are we buttoned up or are we
You're
not?
a broadcast professional, not me.
But then I come on this podcast and I lose it all. This is the first time I think I visited without a glass of wine in front of me. I say glass, right? Let's be without a red Solo cup of wine in front of me.
So let's put it this way, okay?
This is historic, Greg Tupper.
Let's put it this way. When I told our good friend Kendall out there, our coworker, that you were coming in, I said you might be forewarned. It's going to get loud in here, and her reaction was, "Oh, is Erin bringing wine?" That was her reaction. It wasn't
Is that who I am around here now?
It wasn't
is that who I've become?
like the Lush.
No, like the chick that brings in wine at noon on a Tuesday.
Well,
Friday,
today's
whatever.
Friday. Well, you're not helping your cause here. Gonna be honest.
Whatever today.
Yeah.
Time is meaningless. If we've learned anything in the last year, time is absolutely meaningless. So it's Friday. We are spending an off-season Friday together.
Look at us.
This is a rarity.
It is.
Which, during the season,
During
we get to
the
put up with one another for 3 hours. Thank God this isn't a 3-hour podcast, right?
It can be as long as you want. Today is Friday, March 5th, 2021. 267 days till Thanksgiving, I want to say. Episode 1121. This is the Matt West episode. He played for the Rangers in 2014. On today's show, my friends, Erin Hartigan is here, as we mentioned. I have left the first topic, up to Erin Hartigan. It's up to her, however she wants to talk about it. And I understand she's booked a big-name guest. Is this true?
Yeah, I just texted Bob Wager and said, you're about to get a text from Greg Tepper. Please answer.
And it's not going to be a text, it's going to be a call.
That's right. You're about to receive a call from Greg Tepper. Please don't screen. Please answer. No, Bob Wager is going to help us share a not-so-Hallmark love story.
Wow. Now that's a professional tease. And then back half of the show, it is going to be our Helpful Honda Dealers Mailbag Friday. So we're answering your questions. High school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, anything you've got. Leave them in the comments on Facebook, Twitch, or on YouTube. We will get to as many as we can in the back half of the show. I'm going to attempt to do first four through the door, but I'm not very good at it. Let's see. It is, I'm going to start it here. It's Rob Hadaway, Tony Blaylock, Ryan Smiga, and Allison Brown. Hello, fellas and lady fellas, as someone once said. And so, let's start, Erin. I sent you a text, and I asked you, hey, what do you want to do for the first topic on Friday? And you said, let's talk about me. It's exactly what you said.
Actually, I said, let's talk about Pickle first.
Yes, because we should shout out. She's wearing her San Saba versus Llano Dave Campbell's Game of the Week shirt.
San Saba what, Greg Tepper?
The Armadillos. Yes.
Meeting the native stomping grounds of one homecoming queen, Ashley Pickle. Llano actually defeated San Saba.
They won.
Because they went on an unbeaten.
They were undefeated
season
until the
into
state semifinals. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So you wanted to
this
talk.
was a big deal because this was the first time Pickle had gone back to cover them.
Correct.
So this was a monumental day, and in honor of Ashley Pickle
Not being here.
not having to put up with us today, I decided to wear it. Pickle, we miss you.
Yes.
We love you.
Okay.
And we hope you're praying over us.
Well, she certainly is not. She is definitely just she's not working. Why would she watch this show if she wasn't working?
That's true. I mean, your digital director
And
is
so,
likely not watching when he's supposed to be either.
well, and that's a good segue because I think maybe people know this, maybe people don't. But you are engaged to be wed. You have been engaged to be wed for a minute now.
About as long as you and I have been on the air together,
I
which
don't
is
think
a
that's true.
long time.
I don't know if that's true, but
No, it is. We've been out, what, 7 years? Okay, so
okay,
William
but
was the year before.
engaged. I mean, you know.
Oh, engaged. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
we've been dating for like 20 years.
Right. And so for those who don't know, Erin is engaged to our digital director, William Wilkerson, who has been on this program before, against his will. He has been on this program before. But he and so I guess let's have a romance story, because in a lot of ways you guys are a story about Texas high school football love.
Okay, it's technically, let me asterisk this. It's a story of how Texas high school football pitted us against one another, only to kind of bring us together, I guess. And I don't want to make this sappy because it's completely not. In fact, our good friends Sarah Merrifield and Paige Schnorbach of Fox Sports Southwest were asking me not long ago how William and I met. They're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I've ever asked you this question. How did you guys meet? It's like a question I've received like 1,000,000 times since we started dating half a century ago. And obviously since we got engaged. And I was like, believe it or not, and many don't believe, it was actually on a Texas high school football field, which is kind of funny, right? Here's the best part of the story. When we met on that field from afar, I despised him because at the time, let me set this up. At the time, I was covering college football recruiting for Scout.com, which was also part of Fox at the time. He was covering college football recruiting for ESPN, like Horns Digest, whatever site he thought he was like, I don't know, crushing at the time. And so we were competitors. I was not competitive at all. And so I wasn't, okay, okay, so it's 2012.
Coach is screening my calls.
Bob Wager is screening the calls.
It's okay. Don't worry
Okay,
about it.
it's all good. So anyway, okay, so let's go. So here it is. The year is 2012.
Uh-huh.
Fall of 2012.
Right.
Miles Garrett is one of the top 5
probably,
players
yeah.
like in the country,
Right.
top in Texas. I mean, yeah, he's a one commodity. So I got to an Arlington Martin practice. It was like a preseason, it was like training camp, and I had been there, and again, I mean, it was like 300 degrees at like 5 a.m. when this thing kicked off. Texas. I'd been there since like before dawn. You know, I was like, I'm going to be there for the entire practice, and then I'm going to get my interview at the end, because I feel like that's kind of, you know, it's like
That's probably the way to go about things.
that is Greg Tepper. So when one William Wilkerson of ESPN.com in his little Ray-Bans rolls up with like 20 minutes to go,
Was he legit wearing
and thinks
Ray-Bans?
that he's about to get this interview with Miles Garrett over me,
Mm-hmm.
oh hell no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm across the field. I'm like, oh hell no, he didn't just roll up in his Ray-Bans with like 20 to go in practice. I've been here before the sun came up.
Look,
Who got the first Miles Garrett interview? Greg Tepper.
I'm going to take a guess and say Will.
Again, I'm not competitive at all.
But here's the thing, though, is that at this point, it strikes me that you're hating the game instead of the player, and you're hating the guy who he knows that he's going to be there after practice, that he's not going to be able to get him until after practice. So if practice starts at 6 a.m. and practice isn't over till 7:30, you don't get any bonus points for being there at 6 a.m.
I'm dedicated. I showed up for an entire Bob Wager practice. Like you know what I mean? Like I was in. I'm in. I mean, I'm here for more than just. I'm not just the reporter that rolls up for the interview. Like I'm in. I'm a part. I am in on putting in the time, and really putting in the attention. I want to spread the attention among the entire team. Right. Okay. So anyway.
I get it.
I'm trying to make an excuse here. If
You
can't
really
tell. So,
are.
okay, so here's
You
the thing.
got
So
beat, and it's
if you
fine.
think you're making me feel bad,
I
I will tell you this. I actually did end up feeling kind of bad. So this is kind of where the like Disney love story comes into play. So I'm like, you know, I get the first interview and I'm like, woo, I'm like dancing off to my car, like wanting to, you know, I don't know, kind of throw it in his face, like, what up? Like I'd been here the whole time and I got it before you. And Bob loves me more. What's up? And I get home, and I'm living with one of my college best friends, former teammate at the time. And I'm like, you will never guess. I'm telling her, I'm like, you will never guess who rolled up to the practice. Because, again, she knew how much, like, I was, like, against him because we were, like, competitors. I was like, he rolled, I'm telling her the story. I'm like, he thought he was just going to get that, We're like, what a D word, And
I'm just saying. I will say, I appreciate you holding back, and that's a true broadcast professional because I think a lot of people would be like, "This is an internet show. I can say whatever I want."
No, this is also a high school and we're telling a Texas high school football love story. So I should probably keep it censored.
That's a good point.
So we're like, okay, whatever. And at that moment, Greg Tepper,
Yeah,
I get a DM. William Wilkerson, Mr. Ray-Ban slides in the DM and writes me this like nice note of like, hey, saw you at Arlington Martin today. Just didn't get a chance to catch up. No, you were busy. Didn't want to bother you. But, I just want to let you know how much I admire your work. And
what a jerk.
How much. Yes. And I'm like, no, you can't be nice.
You're supposed to hate him.
I'm supposed to hate you.
Yeah.
Why are you being nice?
Yeah.
And I was all like, woo, I got that. I was being like I don't know. I was being kind of immature. And so he wrote this nice note about how much he likes my work and everything, or admire whatever. And I'm like, okay. So then I told Kelsey, I'm like, now I feel bad. Fast forward, it was like maybe a couple of weeks later. It was the Lancaster-John Tyler game. A number of prospects on the field at that game. So there were a ton of reporters there. And that was actually the first time. And I knew he was at the game. Okay, this is going to sound so stupid. I knew he was at the game because I saw his tweets. So like from the game.
Gosh.
So I'm like, oh my God, he's here. So I'm like, oh my God. Like, I don't know. I don't want to make the first move because, again, I have, like, this ego. So I'm like, I'm not going to talk to him first. He made the first – so after sending this nice DM, he makes the first move, comes up, taps me on the shoulder, introduces himself. He's all nice. And at that time, I was like, oh, my God, he's kind of cute too. Long story short, I don't know how to feel about this story, you guys, because it was kind of like I hated him and now I kind of like him and I guess we're going to be together forever type of thing. And I'm hoping, Greg Tepper, that Bob Wager is no longer screening your calls because I felt it was critical in sharing this not so Hallmark love story that we had. The love story that began on a Texas high school football field, I felt it was important. We had the coach of that field on to help share the story.
Coach Wager, do you read us?
Oh, I got you loud and clear. I remember it well the day that it happened. I'm thrilled to be a part of the story, Erin. Thank you for the invitation.
Okay, wait. First of all, many would call you crazy for like actually wanting to spend a Friday in the off season with the two of us. So thank you for that.
I actually just elevated my social status. I'm
geez.
good about this deal right now.
Okay, so I guess, Coach, one question I have is
why do I feel like this story is now boring? Bob's gonna make it much better.
No. I just want to know. I just want to know,
audience.
Coach. Like you're a guy who's been pretty successful on the Texas high school football field. You've coached some of the very best players in America, stuff like that. How high up on your list of accomplishments is? Let's say
matchmaking.
Organizing the matchmaking of Erin Hartigan and her future beau.
Boy, what a great question,
Thank
Tepp.
you.
I mean, I typically like to speak about the value that we bring in regards to the relationships that we build. Obviously, we don't get to continue to do that if we don't win games. But when you can find a way to connect two elite human beings like Will and Erin, it's got to go right there to the top of the stack.
Well, listen, that leads me to my next question. Who do you like more?
Ooh, wow.
Okay,
Well,
no,
you put me on the spot, and I
Bob.
distinctly remember a dinner invitation at one point where we had an opportunity to sit down and talk ball. And early on in that conversation, when you disclosed that Will was going to be there, I could not contain my enthusiasm.
Okay, I didn't know if we could go
I gotta
here.
I gotta give the nod to your fiance.
Okay, time out. Okay, I didn't know if you wanted me to go here, but since you went there, here. Okay, so Tepper. So Bob and I were originally scheduled to go grab lunch or dinner or whatever it was, and at the same time, that was when William and I were first kind of like talking, kind of hanging out. He was in town, and William's like, "Hey, let's grab dinner tonight." I'm thinking like, well, shoot, like I already have plans with Bob, but he also knows Bob, so maybe I could call Bob and see if we could make it like William could be our third wheel. And so
Okie dokie.
I call Bob and I'm like, oh, like, I don't know if he's going to, I'm like, oh, he'll be okay. I'm like, hey, Bob. I said, I know we're doing dinner. I said, I wasn't sure if I can bring a friend. I said, my friend William Wilkerson is in town, and I was wondering if he could tag along. Bob's response, you kidding me? I've had a man crush on that dude for like 5 years. I'm in. His response, and I'm like, well, okay then. Maybe I should see myself out on this dinner. I'm like, maybe I should see myself out the door here.
Coach, you want to respond to this slanderous accusation?
Hey, she's growing on me. She's growing on me. She's coming on strong for sure. But
okay,
well,
here,
what a fabulous human being he is as well.
Well, listen, he is. But at the time, Bob Wager, I need you to defend me here. The year was 2012. Myles Garrett was a wanted commodity. Breaking news here on Texas Football Today. And I was at an Arlington, it was like training camp, I want to say. It was like preseason workout. I wanted to, get a video interview with Myles. So what I did was I showed up at the start of practice. I was going to be there the entire practice before I got that interview. So I was there before the sun came up to get that interview. Mm-hmm. When did Greg Tepper remind Bob Wager when William Wilkerson decided to roll up for the same interview?
Like 5 minutes before practice ended.
And what was he wearing?
I don't know. I wasn't listening.
Ray-Bans. He was
Okay.
a total D-word Ray-Ban
Jeez.
wearing. I'm trying to censor.
We're working
show,
blue
Bob.
here,
no,
Coach.
Bob, you know this as well as anyone. I was like, oh hell no. He rolls up across the field, and I see him from afar, and I'm like, oh hell no, you didn't just roll up 5 minutes before practice going to end and think you're getting the same interview. I've been here before the sun came up. I did end up getting the interview before him, and I definitely made sure to rub that in. And I was also like, bye, Bob. Bob Wager loves me more. Great to see you. Like, I was totally trying to rub this in. And what did I get when I arrived home that day? William Wilkerson had slid into the DMs and wrote me like the nicest note. He's like, hey, I saw you at Martin earlier today. I knew you were busy. I didn't want to bother you. I just wanted to tell you how much I really admire your work. And I'm like, no, this is not how this goes. I'm supposed to hate you. You're not supposed to be nice.
Well,
and that's how it happened.
And now they're getting married. Okay, so Coach, while I've got you on, because I know Erin wants to talk about nuptials and stuff like that. One question I have: you are a happily married man. You've been married for. I don't want to date you. Let's just say you've been married for more than a year. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So. Can you give Erin one piece of marriage advice? See, here's the thing: it's tougher. It's tougher to give it to a bride than a groom. Because for a groom, it's pretty easy. It's like just listen to what she says.
Yeah, I would say to start, never use his razor.
Wow.
Wait, why? What? Because sometimes men's razors are better.
Well, and that provides a value for you. However, when it comes to the delicate skin on the face, we know exactly the state of our razor after every use as to when to switch it out, when not to. So I would start with that. And then I think a 1B, if I may, Tep,
sure, is
the garage is the only room in the home that we get to decide, right? The garage is not a catch-all. The garage is the origin of home organization. And so if we do not win the last game of the season,
sure,
and we get ousted from the playoffs, then I like to dedicate 2 full days in the garage before I fully rejoin society, and that's for organizational use.
Coach, I got to be honest. That seems entirely fair. That seems like and maybe I'm just speaking from a dude's perspective, but I'm like, yeah, that checks out. Is like, especially coming to the end of a season. And while I've got you here, I will ask you one football question, which is, we go back to 2020. You guys end up bookending your season with teams that end up playing for state championships in Denton Ryan and South Lake Carroll. You win every game in between. I'm interested in how you would assess what you guys were able to accomplish in your 2020 season. Not to completely steer the football show back onto the football tracks, but I'm interested in how you assess what you guys were able to accomplish in 2020. Well,
I think first, in all honesty, Tep, we played. right? So 43 states in the country did not have an opportunity to play. When we first went to strength and conditioning camp on the 8th of June, we took the mentality of if we do this well, maybe they'll give us one more day. And we took that. We're actually still doing it. Social distancing, keeping them spread out, making sure we got all our protocols in place, trying to revise all of our practice habits that we'd learned for 25 years and change everything to try to keep it as safe as possible. And so, we had a number of cancellations throughout the course of the year. We ended up playing a really good College Park team at Groesbeck High. Groesbeck had a game that was out of town. They basically left the gate open for us. We had, no cheer, no band, no announcer. We sat in the end zone at halftime, crisscross applesauce, and made our adjustments. I think the biggest victory for us, and especially for our sanity, that's kids, coaches, and our community, was getting the opportunity to get out there on the field and have a sense of normalcy every day. And that normalcy occurred from 3 to 5 o'clock at practice.
He's Bob Wager. When he is not coaching the Arlington Martin Warriors, he is playing
donuts.
matchmaker and doing donuts in the snow.
Okay.
Okay.
On that note, I gotta get this story in. This is a ratings booster. So I will let our fine viewers, listeners, and your fans know. I will assure them that the Wagers were A-okay during the recent Snowmageddon, Icepocalypse, whatever you want to call it. They were well. They were safe. In fact, Bob Wager, I hear you were making lemonade of lemons.
Well, we certainly tried to. I think the first was an assessment of the kids that we have in this school, what their situation was. We made several trips with a truck bed full of wood and dropped them off, at those that didn't have power, and brought them a little starter log, taught them how to build a box fire, tried to keep them warm. In between wood trips, we actually went out to the lake. We got the tube and the tow rope from the back of the boat.
Sure.
And we tied it onto the back of the truck. I've got a 14-year-old son and a 12-year-old daughter. And we put them in a helmet, shoulder pads, and a padded girdle and tied them onto the back of the truck and dragged them around in the parking lot, went East Coast style. So we had a good time in the snow here.
I love it. I love it. Coach Wager, we always appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for helping to relive this love story.
William says thank you for helping ruin his life. We love
Wow.
you. Cannot wait to celebrate with you at the wedding.
Me too, guys. Admire your work. Thanks for having me on today.
There he goes. Bob Wager, the head coach of the Arlington Martin Warriors, joining us here on Texas Football Today. All right, let me do this read real quick. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. I hope you will consider becoming a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider. Hey, Erin,
You are such
should
a
they
pro.
subscribe to Dave Campbell's Texas Football?
Is that a question?
Well, please answer it
Is
for
there
the sake
a
of the.
question mark on the end of that? Because there shouldn't be. Yes.
Good.
You absolutely should. If there is a list of things you should accomplish in your life, subscribing to Dave Campbell's Texas Football or TexasFootball.com is one of them.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, it is now time, because it is Friday. It is time for Mailbag Friday, presented by our friends. Let me make sure I do this right. Presented by our friends, North Texas Honda Dealers. It's Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday. The North Texas Honda Dealers want to help you score some great deals on award-winning Hondas. Stop by your Helpful Honda dealer today and visit ntxhondadealers.com to learn more. That's ntxhondadealers.com. Get your questions in on high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, anything you got. We will answer your questions here on Texas Football Today with Erin Hartigan. We will start, first of all, we have a question up here from Rob Hadaway. Rob asks, mailbag question for Erin. Tell us an embarrassing behind-the-scenes situation for Stepp at Fox Sports Southwest that nobody would know. I'll be honest, I think I don't spend too much time before or after the show hanging around Fox. I think I've done this enough, so it's like most of the embarrassing stuff.
Do you remember, though, when it's not really embarrassing for you. I always do the embarrassing stuff, which isn't fair.
Mm-hmm. That's true. You do the embarrassing stuff.
He's like perfect, and it
That's
annoys the heck out of
stop
me.
it.
But there was one time. Do you remember the time we fist bumped and you spilled your coffee all over you? Like it was like, well, maybe, and maybe that was because I had.
Yes.
I think I was fresh off
The-
like an oral steroid.
No.
shot.
You were on the juice. You were taking steroids for some sort of like flu or
I think
something
there's
you
video
had.
Of this out there, actually.
And
Yes.
you gave me like I was like, we were coming back on
It was a solid one.
coming back on the air, and you were like, and I was holding my cup of coffee in one hand, and then I was like, hey, you know what? Hey, let's go get it, and we get a fist bump, and you hit me so hard
And of all nights, for you to be wearing a white tie, my
that the
friend.
coffee like went straight down the middle of my suit too. It was like right in the
All
middle.
nights for you to be wearing like a white tie. And
Oh.
so he just did. The best part was he just did the rest of the show with just like this mess.
Well, there was a
Like, just
panic.
looked like a total mess. Like
It was
"Hey,
like,
welcome back to
We did it.
Friday."
If I remember correctly, there were still about 90 seconds left in the commercial break, and we were coming back, and there was like a panic for those 90 seconds. Like, oh my gosh! Like
Tide pen
all the
wasn't a thing.
all the camera guys. I'm sure a Tide pen
Tide
was a
pen,
thing, but we
I
didn't
don't
have
think
one.
had been invented yet.
I don't think we.
So-
How long have we been on the air? No, that's not true.
So you asked if you could go tieless.
I think
In
I did.
which case we were like, okay, Cliff Kingsbury.
I did not have a. I don't think I had a white tie, but I did have a light tie. I don't own a white tie. What kind
And
of
who-
monster
okay,
owns a white
but-
tie?
Okay, but of all people, that's true. Although I can tell you someone who did, and it was the guy that lent you a tie, Rick Renner.
Well, that's true.
Rick Renner
That's
is
very-
the owner of a white
that's
tie.
very
I could
Renner.
probably put.
Yes.
I would put the house on that.
Yeah.
He actually ended up lending you one. But like, why is that the only embarrassing moment I can think? And it wasn't even like that. I mean, like again, it drives me nuts. Rob, was this Rob's question? Rob, it drives me nuts that he's like,
Stop
he
it.
doesn't have them.
All right,
I
next
have
question.
them.
Next question. From our friend Erin.
I
Erin,
need wine and a red solo.
this is Aaron. Erin. Erin
Great
says,
name.
"What is Erin's favorite stadium in Texas?"
I will answer that followed by a question for that, Erin. But first, the Puncher Dome was kind of
Right.
But now again,
And
I
again-
will preface it with I have yet to really visit some that are still on my bucket list. I have yet to visit all the stadiums that are on my bucket list, like El Paso is one. And, is that your favorite? Is that number one for you?
that's my top bucket list
Okay,
one.
so I got to get there at some point. But I know Puncher Dome is second on your list, and we finally got to visit that 2 years ago when we did Texas Football Days from there. That was just super cool because it was so historic and the community. I mean, I particularly liked the fifth quarter
Yes.
at the Tavern Burger.
It was at.
They call it the fifth quarter. It's like this gathering they have
at the Church of
after
Christ.
every game at the Church of Christ, and they serve tavern burgers, which are basically like
It's Sloppy Joe's.
glorified sloppy joes, which is they're amazing. Merle.
Wow, how do you
man.
remember his name? That's
Because
incredible.
because we're BFFs. We made bracelets. I'm kidding, but we wanted to. Merle makes the tavern burgers, and he has for like the last 30 years, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. So that was just like a really cool experience. I would say the Puncher Dome.
Yeah.
At this point, to which I ask you, Erin, I'm gonna answer a question with a question. Has Starbucks? What's the craziest spelling of Erin you've received at Starbucks on your cup? Because I feel like it should be common. Like if you're a dude and you're like, "Hey, my name's Erin," it's Aaron, and if you're a female and you're like, "Hey, my name's Erin," it's Erin. But apparently that's not like
Ron.
like apparently that's not like people don't know that. Like that's not as common knowledge as maybe I thought it was.
I will just say like one thing that for me, and this is a big first world problem. So my name is, I don't know if you know my first name. My first name's Greg. You basically never call me that.
Two G's at the end or one. Silent
That's where I'm
G.
going with this because my name is Greg, G-R-E-G. People who spell it with two G's on the end, don't
Silent-
trust them. Got to be honest.
So how do you feel about Pam's with two M's?
What?
I'm kidding.
There's no way that's a thing. I'm
It's
furious.
Step Brothers, look it up. But no, but seriously, Erin, like
He wrote it and he says Aeron, and then he said there's in this fantasy football league they call him Aoreoan
like
on
what?
purpose. I know.
It's Erin or it's Aaron.
Pam.
Like those are like the two. I got Aaron, like AIR, Air, like Air Jordan, but like AIRIN, and I'm just like, but I get the weirdest.
That seems very like social media influencer way to spell it.
But
You know what I mean?
So Erin understands, like, It's not that hard, people. It's not that difficult.
We have a question from Matt. Matt asks, how many Cokes has Erin spilled in Texas high school football press boxes?
Wait, who asked that?
A gentleman named Matt.
Well, I know a lot of Matts. One with the last name Stepp that I love fresh to death. I believe that the only Coke I spilled in a press box was with the Matt with the last name Stepp.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that was the only one I actually spilled.
I didn't see
and
who
I
the
was
other.
more okay. So it was Coppell,
Mm-hmm.
first round of the playoffs, I believe, second round maybe.
Cowboy fight never dies.
We were there to see
I would bet it was the
running
defensive.
back. Why am I that went to Notre Dame? Why am I totally drawing? Cam McDaniel.
Cam McDaniel.
We were there to see Cam McDaniel, and I believe Corbett Smith or Brandon George was in the press box. One of them was covering Texas high school football at the time. I think Corbs.
great
Noobs
Corbs.
was not. Corbs was. And yeah, Matt Stepp, God bless him, was like my Miyagi. I was like learning, training under him. God bless him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he made it through that. But I blame Greg Powers because he was like, "Here, you deal with her." And I'm in the I'm like, "Hey, Stepp, like, woo, looking forward to the game today. Like, how about that? How about them Cowboys? You know?" And
That sounds like something you'd say.
yeah, I was trying really hard, and I don't know if I'm ever allowed back in the Coppell press box.
Good point.
Following it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can ask. I have connections over there at Coppell.
Lineman Tep is still my favorite Tep.
It's
but
true.
carry on.
We've now run that on the show multiple times. And so now let's see if I can ask you a question that can get you in trouble.
Okay.
And if you cannot answer this, I freely recognize we have not screened this question beforehand.
I'm kind of
Yeah, I know. Here it comes. Okay.
Remember, this is a family-friendly
I'm
show.
aware. It has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
So you work for Fox Sports Southwest for now.
I like that you went exactly.
So
Well,
I
as of
guess my
today,
question
yes.
is, I guess it's out there now. It's news. Like, this is not that the name of the station is
Yes.
changing.
Yeah, that is public.
That's public information. Okay, yeah, and you've known about this probably for a little bit longer than the public has, but not a ton longer.
Yeah.
Do you have any comments on the new name? It's Bally Sports?
Well, it's Bally Sports.
It's going into effect
which is
like
named out. It's the
2021,
the
2022.
Bally's Casino in Vegas
Uh-huh.
is of the ownership.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I guess my only question, again, me answering a question with a question. How is that going to work for high school football?
It's a little interesting, right?
Okay.
That's something I've thought about. But I also think that I think the UIL is pretty happy with the deal with Fox Sports Southwest or their current TV provider. But it is interesting. That's one thing I thought of is.
Are we going to be adding spreads to Football Friday? Or
I do not think we'll be doing that. No.
We won't be-
But
okay.
the one thing I will say, that's a
Dr.
joke.
Elza
That's a joke. It's a
Harrison
joke.
and Bride Up, we're joking.
I do, but here's the other thing is that, like, for example, the UIL goes and they go play their state championship games at AT&T Stadium, right?
Yes.
And AT&T Stadium, in one of the end zones, is the Miller Lite end zone. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So I would say that there are ways around it. You know what I mean? That I don't think it's necessarily a deal breaker on that regard. And I'm sure the UIL and the powers that be.
Give me an over-under on the number of times I will
Oh.
accidentally say Fox or Fox Sports Southwest or Fox Football Friday or because Bally's Football Friday.
It's going to be, I think, you'll notice.
Over-under. How many times am I going to
First of all, well, here's the thing. You will notice, and longtime viewers of our television program on Fox Sports Southwest for now, maybe have noticed that we did call it Fox Football Friday, and now we've started calling it Football Friday.
You're right. It is just
Football Friday.
Just Football Friday.
And I think that is, I don't know. That's interesting. I bet it'll just be Football Friday.
For me, it's going to be hard. Like just saying, because on Fox Sports Southwest, I was so used to saying that.
Well, and you also, the other thing for you is that you don't. I'm a dummy who rolls in there twice a week, right? I do the Player of the Week show, and then I do Football Friday and Scoreboard on Friday nights, right?
So you get 3.5 hours with me every week.
I get a lot of hours with you. But here's the thing: you have to do Pelicans. You have in the past done Rangers. You have kind of done everything. You're saying the name of the station a lot more than I am.
Oh, God.
It's also not my responsibility to like reset and say you're watching whatever. Like my job is just to run my mouth, as viewers of this program know.
I just softball it up and let
Yes.
you go, and that's how we do 3 hours of television. It's definitely going to be different, but I will say I don't know if I can go out there. Like, okay, so
Ooh.
we had other names. Like, okay, there were other names thrown out there.
Of course
and
there
thank
were.
God we didn't go in that direction because one of them was Desire Network,
Oh my gosh.
which had Dana Larson about falling out of her chair.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just trying to let's look on the bright side. We're not the Desire Network.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
That's the bright side. That's it.
That is the bright side.
No, but listen, it's
It's
just-
interesting.
Yeah,
It's gonna take a minute to get used to.
And I'm gonna be married.
Yeah.
This next, so
Yeah,
I will tell you.
I
okay,
guess
so
that's-
I've been asked like if I'm
Well, allow me to ask the question. I'm a capital J journalist, so we can get you on the air or on the record here. Your name is Erin Hartigan. You're marrying a gentleman.
that I know of.
You're marrying a gentleman whose last name is Wilkerson. Okay.
Yeah.
Is next season's Football Friday, assuming we don't get canceled, is next season's Football
Yeah, we're
Friday
assuming we're
going to
bringing-
star Aaron Wilkerson?
What if it stars Erin Hartigan hyphen?
Oh, I love it.
Bam!
Are you going to hyphenate? Are you going to ask Will to take your name?
Or, okay,
That'd be very progressive.
okay, that would actually be kind of interesting. Should I ask him?
Yeah.
Okay, ask. Let's listeners.
Should Will take Aaron's name?
Should Will take my name?
Look,
okay, because here's my thing.
We
And
have
I'm
to
gonna be honest
defeat
with-
the
be
patriarchy, and the
honest
way
with
to do
y'all.
that is one step at a time, like
well,
that.
But listen, at the same time, I kind of don't, and weigh in here. I don't want to give up Hartigan on air because I feel like I've worked to like I don't know, like
Ooh,
all
the
my work
brand.
has gone into like I don't even want to call it a brand because
Aaron Hartigan,
boy, is
Aaron
that
Hartigan LLC.
not a successful one. I don't know. Like, I just feel like it's like that's been the name. So Dana Larson. Larson is actually her maiden name.
Right.
She goes by Dana. So Dana Perner is her married
Yeah,
name.
because she's
Jay Perner, the commissioner of the LSC,
Yeah,
is her
I don't know if you guys knew
husband.
that.
Another Texas football love story. I believe they actually met at SMU. You should have Dana on to share her love story. Or just me because
I've talked
really
with
the weird one
her.
that does that.
I've interviewed her husband, Jay Perner.
We love Jay.
Yeah, he's great.
I mean,
Very tall.
Dana's our favorite Perner.
Very
no
tall.
question.
One thing that's very weird, one thing, not weird, but one thing that's very notable about them, and this is something that I notice a lot because I don't know if you know this, I have tiny wife. And so I'm about 6'1", my wife is about 5 foot. And so we always notice whenever there are couples who who have a height difference. And Dana is smallish.
Yes.
She's
yes.
smallish.
She is definitely like maybe.
She's petite.
Maybe 5'5", 5'4". Yeah, she's pretty.
She's petite.
She's pretty
but
petite.
but part of that is also the fact that her husband, Jay, he's a former basketball player,
yeah,
right?
he played at SMU.
Yeah.
Where they met. So oh God, I don't know how tall Jay is. Like 6'7",
Mm-hmm.
maybe. So Dana's like 5'5", maybe, and he's like an entire foot like
Yeah.
an entire foot taller,
He's-
if that. I mean,
he's-
that's like at minimum.
He is I'm a decently tall guy, and my wife is pretty short. Dana is relatively short, kind of
Okay,
short, but Jay is a large
Okay,
dude.
so it's like the time you guys saw Chris Bosch and his wife.
Yes, correct.
Over-
In Germany, correct.
And
That's
Jen
right.
goes, "Look, they're very," and you're like, "Yeah."
And I'm like, yeah. If you don't know that
I
story,
love Jen.
we
Jen,
were
love you.
vacationing in Europe back, I guess 6 years ago now, and
Back when we could.
we were walking around, and my wife noticed that there was this couple, a very tall guy and like a pretty petite woman, and she's like, "Oh, look at that! There's a big height difference too." And I looked, and I'm like, "Oh, that's Chris Bosch. that's NBA All-Star Chris Bosch."
Yep, that,
And I was like,
that'll do
"Oh,
it.
okay, cool." Yeah. So we noticed that. So I guess
So back to
yeah.
your question, Dana. Like and Emily Jones. Emily Jones. That's her maiden name. She's
Yeah.
Emily McCoy, married. So like
Mhm.
they have kept their. So like why like I feel like that's kind of the direction I'm gonna go. Is I'm still gonna be Erin Hart. Like legally I'll be Erin Wilkerson. If not, if he doesn't take my last name. But then I'll just be Erin Hartigan on air. So you don't have to worry about like getting my name right on air. Like you don't have to worry about anything changing for you. You just keep that tie clean. Okay?
that's good because I have enough to worry about. I don't know what in the heck I'm doing up there. Okay. It's Erin Hartigan from Fox Sports Southwest.
Was that a good first segment today, talking about
I-
the love story that wasn't and
I
it kind
think-
of became one?
I think the people loved it. And if they didn't, well, the show is free. Thanks to the helpful Honda dealers for being our sponsor of Mailbag Friday. The North Texas Honda dealers want to help you score some great deals on award-winning Hondas. So stop by your helpful Honda dealer today and visit ntxhondadealers.com to learn more. All right, we made it through without too many technical meltdowns. You want to show people the shirt
Man
one more
of
time?
Texas, stand up.
That is going to do it for us. Erin, thanks for being our guest.
Or at least just treat your homecoming queen with the royalty that she deserves.
That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook. Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram. Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks to Arlington Martin coach Bob Wager for being our guest. For Erin Hartigan, I'm Greg Tepper. Do you want to do the thing?
We did it.
Do you want to do the thing? Do you know
What's
how
the
we end the
thing?
show?
No,
It's
how do
right there. The big green thing.
Vince Young, I'm taking this home.
Oh, my gosh.
And so we're going to end the show because you know what?
You should
You
just
haven't claimed it yet.
just
so
ask
I
him to
will.
come get it.
And then maybe you could come swing by and pick it up.
We'll see you Monday on
From our
Texas.
place. I might be at the liquor store, though.
We'll see you on Monday on Texas Football Today.